Let us move on, because ambulance workers are to be balloted from tomorrow on industrial action over low wages and working conditions, as the latest statistics reveal a system under stress. In Yorkshire last month, for example, 90% of Category 2 calls, which includes people with suspected strokes or chest pain, were responded to within 1 hour and 33 minutes. The target is 90% within 40 minutes. Now, ahead of the ballot, one ambulance worker has spoken exclusively to Politics North about his experience of a service under pressure. Here's Sean Stoll.
My name's Edgerton. I'm emergency care assistant for Yorkshire Ambulance Service, and I come out with about £1,300 a month. I'm part of a crew who respond to emergencies.
Edgerton knows all about the dangers of lengthy ambulance delays from his job. But then, all of a sudden, he was facing his own life and death situation.
4 months ago, I had symptoms of a stroke. I got a headache and double vision, and my arm completely went numb and I couldn't use it. I phoned for an ambulance. I told there wasn't one available, and I was looking at a few hours. With a stroke, it's time critical, so I had to get myself to A&E. I had to drive myself to A&E whilst thinking I was having a stroke. Luckily, it turned out to be a mini stroke, and I've been fine since.
But it didn't end there. This time, a family member was facing a life and death situation.
A couple of weeks ago, one of my family members was having a stroke. I could see he was having a stroke. And again, we rung for an ambulance and there wasn't one available. So we had to get them in a car in a not very dignified manner and take them down ourselves, because that help wasn't available. If I hadn't had that knowledge that we needed to get them there in time, they're potentially looking at someone dying waiting for an ambulance.
The Yorkshire Ambulance Service told us that handover delays at busy hospitals compounded lengthy ambulance response times, something which a spokesman said needed to be reduced, and for which the service apologised.
It's very stressful being the one responding to people waiting 10 hours. It's not nice. We want to help people. We're the ones that have to go out and apologise, and we're doing our best. But then to be in that position yourself, I'm lucky I knew what was going on, and it wasn't as scary for me. But it does really reiterate how scary it is for patients waiting that length of time. It just doesn't feel right at all.
Lee hasn't only got a story of what it's like to be a frontline care worker, he's also got the story of his own personal situation. This government has had over a decade to repair the crisis within the NHS, and it is getting worse.
The whole patient journey over the last few years has just changed dramatically. Patients can be waiting 6-7 hours to get us there in the first place, and then we arrive at A&E, and in some circumstances we're waiting 8-9 hours to get them a bed, to get them into A&E, which is where they need to be, and they're just sat on the back of an ambulance waiting and waiting. And at the end of the month you see your pay slip and you think, is it worth it? It just doesn't feel worth it at the moment.
The GMB received an 80% turnout and a 90% vote for industrial action on a recent consultative ballot with our Yorkshire Ambulance members. So on Monday the 24th of October, formal ballot papers will be landing on our members' doorstep for our members to vote if they wish to take strike action or action short of strike.
In regard to the ballot, a spokesman for the Yorkshire Ambulance Service said staff had the right to voice concerns, and the service will work with unions to provide responsive care for patients.
For me, £1,300 a month it isn't enough money. Staff in the NHS don't want to strike, they don't want to do stuff like that, but there's no other option. We've waited for things to get better, and they're getting worse, and ultimately we want to be able to have enough money to enjoy life a little bit, and at the moment it's not even enough to put food on the table.